Welcome to Two Expats Abroad. Today, what we are going to talk about and focus on is productivity and how we orient ourselves towards a routine, getting up in the morning, all of those important things. And why this is important is because what I see with the clients that I work with is generally if there's one area of their life where they can optimize better routines, better habits and stuff, it's this area. One of the sayings that is common with this is the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. So one of the first things I like to ask my clients is, how do you know what you're meant to do today or this week or this month? And unfortunately, a lot of people are not doing any planning. And I know that you do planning, and I thought we'd get into that today.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say that I'm religious with my planning, but I do it.
You do Sunday night CEO.
True.
Yeah,
true. So each Sunday, this is part of kind of my routine, weekly routine. I look at my week and I go, I don't just look at the week actually, I look at the 3-year vision, usually the 3-year vision, and then I look at the yearly vision, and then that decides what I do in the month. And I know that there's like many different components there, but ultimately then when you're looking at your month and your week and your day, it's always linking back to that.
Yeah.
So it's having these big ambitions, lofty ambitions, but then breaking it down to stuff that's actually achievable. So if I want to build my own house in Poland, I don't do that tomorrow. But I do something tomorrow that works towards that.
Yeah.
So that might be, earn X amount of money, save X amount of money, track your weekly and your monthly spending. So on a Sunday, I will basically look at my week and I'll go, right, okay, if I need to track my weekly and monthly spending, what day of the week am I doing that on? What time of the week am I doing that on? That's a priority to me. Why is it a priority to me? Because my ambitions in 3 years' time, the 3-year vision is to build my own house in Poland. So it's just always like having that there and linking it back to this. So that's my Sunday routine. About an hour on a Sunday evening. We actually plug for Sam, Freedom Warriors. So that's who I do it with at the moment. And he's incredible, by the way. Just his energy. Like, if you don't want to come off that call achieving all of the goals that you have, then you're doing something wrong. It's crazy. So every Sunday we jump on, play a bit of music in the background, write down our vision, and then link it to our week and our month. So that's mine. Your approach is slightly different, isn't it? But obviously effective for you. So
yeah. So about 10 years ago, I read a book by David Allen called Getting Things Done, and the GTD framework it's very simple, but to get it mapped into your life, you kind of have to become aware of how you do, where are your obligations. So for a lot of people, depending on the sort of industry they're in, in the GTD framework, he gets you to think about, where are your inboxes? Where are obligations coming from? So for a lot of people maybe that are in sales, that's the email, right? They're looking at their email and they might have more than one email, or they might have a WhatsApp, or they might have some form of inbox where a lot of requests are coming from them or for them through that vehicle. So you have to look at that and go, okay, what am I going to do? So if there's about 100 notifications, how many am I going to get to, and when am I going to get to them? And he talks about, if there is a task that you're aware of that's going to take 2 minutes or less, do it now. So with that takes a lot of obligations that you could probably put into your calendar away, and you can make a little list of those things and you can do them now. Another one is to do inbox zero. So I'm not really great at that, but inbox zero, when you just know yourself, if you get your inbox down to 0 emails, it's like, oh my God, that feels so good. I'm on top of things.
Mine are 1,000 easily.
Yeah.
So I used to be good at that, but definitely not anymore.
Yeah.
But that's because maybe different models and stuff. So for me, it's interesting that you mentioned GTD. So that's getting things done acronym. Mine's OKR. So that's one key result. So I literally, if I achieve nothing in my day, but I've achieved my one key result, I'm a happy man by the end of the day. So I kind of almost double down on that one thing rather than, and that's why my inbox probably builds up, because 9 times out of 10, there's a lot of noise in your inbox. It depends on your industry that you work in and stuff. If you're in sales, you probably have got a lot of inbound inquiries that you need to deal with. I'm not outside of, my working environment. So during work, I'll do that. But in my personal life, I won't look at my emails, for example.
So that's interesting, right? He calls them projects. So you've got maybe, would you say 3 or 4 projects that are the main projects that you're working off, and they all have inside of those sub categories and sub goals, and they all need attention, right? So you mentioned the house there. If you're X amount of years away from getting that done, what does it require you to do within the next month, within the next 6 months, within the next year, to make sure that you're on schedule for that 5-year goal to be achieved? And there are things that you have to do. And if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done.
Yeah, so this is where yours is slightly different to mine, and I love it, is that essentially you put it into your calendar, everything. Even the micro stuff.
Yeah.
I don't put the micro stuff in, I put the major things in. But then the micro things are the ones that eat away at you when they're not done. So that's
the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Because everything that you don't get done, we have this sort of reoccurring loop, right? Your mind will feed you what it is that you have to do. And if you don't attend to it, meaning put it into your diary and schedule it somewhere on your calendar, it's going to keep coming back, and a little ounce stronger with that anxious feeling that everybody knows every time. So if you don't attend to those things, you're basically giving yourself that result every time. You're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel stressed, you're going to feel like you're not on top of things. And that's why I really believe in the getting things done framework. And that's why the calendar is so important. If you don't have a relationship with your calendar, and even putting like 4-hour blocks to do nothing is something that I would recommend as well. Go be bored. Go schedule time in your weekday where you consciously turn your phone off, put your phone away, put distractions away, so that you give yourself time to, especially if you're creative, if you have some sort of creative endeavor going on, you need to get into boredom, because that's when, do you ever notice that when you're doing nothing, that your best ideas emerge?
Yeah, literally. But how often as a society are we doing nothing nowadays? Like, I realize, like, phones, we'll get onto it.
Yeah.
They're amazing, aren't they? But they're absolutely awful at the same time. So we've spoken about it on a previous episode. Like, I'm aware how dangerous these things can be in terms of distracting you and taking you away from the moment, or from bright ideas, or from your work, or even just from your 3-year vision. You can lose hours on these things, and people do.
That's what they're designed
daily,
for.
weekly, and it's and I'm guilty as well. So I've lost my train of thought on this, but ultimately, like, your best ideas, usually nowadays, it's on the toilet or in the shower.
Why is that?
Yeah, and actually nowadays it's not even on the toilet, because most people are on the phone on the toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're leaving themselves a 10-minute window, 5 if you rush in your shower each day.
Yeah.
To what? To have great ideas. So what you're saying there is block time to sit, think,
Consciously.
take yourself away from these things.
Yeah. I think 4 hours is a good number, because 4 hours is enough time to sort of consciously get yourself into a state of boredom. And think about it. Most people avoid boredom because, what's boredom? Like, I'm of the generation where boredom was just a part of life, pre-phone, pre-computer consoles, all that sort of stuff. Going around climbing trees, being bored was a part of our lives. My fear is that your generation and younger are just on their phone all the time. They're actually anti-boredom. Boredom is like the devil to be avoided at all costs. And there's a social cost to that, a really important social cost to that nobody is talking about. And we need to, as a society, talk about it, because the kids of tomorrow, I don't know if you've seen the videos of Chinese kids. You take the device away and they're like that because they're scrolling, basically. They're addicted to scrolling. And this is a big problem. We're changing the brain structure of our kids by handing them devices.
Yeah, no, I'm a big believer in not giving you, this is where it's difficult because it's a societal issue. So on the individual level, when you're making a decision to whether to give your kid a phone or not, if 97% of the population at that age has got a phone in their hands at school, it's so much harder for you to say no. And then, for example, obviously, then there's a safety element to your child who's going into high school having a phone. But then, contrary to that, there's a safety element of the time that they're spending on it, where they're spending that time when they're on it, and what you can control versus can't control. And it's it's difficult. I've not got a solution for everybody, but on a personal level, like, I just am hyper aware of the time that I spend on there, and I try and, like you say, block time in just to ideate and brainstorm and think.
So how do you do that? Like, what's your process?
Oh, usually I just take myself away somewhere, and when I say that, I mean the lake that I mentioned.
Yeah, that's perfect. Out in nature.
Just out in nature, in the forest, by the lake, which one of the biggest reasons I'm still in Poland, definitely, because forests are accessible in England. Lakes are, but they're fewer and far between. The ones that exist in the Lake District are absolutely beautiful, but it's, for me to get to the Lake District, is an hour and a half. There's a few more local ones, but they're not quite as desirable or as nice or as quiet. I find that the lakes in Poland are a lot quieter, so I can go and switch off from the world. And
how long from where you live does it take for you to get to nature? Nice nature.
25-minute walk to Rusalka.
That's perfect.
So the 25-minute walk is nice on its own.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you're in peace and quiet.
That is perfect.
If you pick the right spot.
Yeah. And that's a lovely area as well.
Yeah. What about yourself? Like, you brought up the topic of blocking time in your diary to disengage from social media, from phones.
Yeah, like, I would say it's installed in my week at least once a week. 4 hours, phone off. Just get the phone off. I know how hard that is. I work with people and they're like, I can't, I'm on call, I'm this, I'm that. All the excuses come up. It's like, okay, but there's a consequence to not doing it.
Yeah.
If you don't do it, you don't get time to process what's in your mind. Because it's not obvious. A lot of the time, it's very easy. Just pick up the phone, doom scroll, and you're avoiding what is in your mind if that phone was off. What would come to the fore if your phone was off is all the things that you have to attend to that are in your life, that are important for you, that you need to deal with.
And I think that's what's important for us. Achieving those ambitions, achieving the 3-year vision is important to us. But if you're just, and I'm going to say this now, there's people that literally spend 2 or 3 hours in front of the TV every single night.
Yeah.
And it's impossible for you to achieve, well, I would say so, to achieve those lofty ambitions if you're just spending 2 or 3 hours numbing your brain every single night. And I just can't encourage people strongly enough to get off of those things. It's hard. I struggle with it, but involve yourself in enough projects where they almost force you to be off of them. So, like, I mean, we meet weekly, 4 hours, so we're not on them. Then we meet away from that for another amount of time, and you're off them. And that's, for me, that's life, isn't it? Building things, growing, changing, evolving. But that's another thing. Are we evolving as much as we used to many, many years ago?
I don't want to be blackpilled, but I don't think I don't think we are as much as we have been. Obviously, the technological advances are. We can't actually predict what the effect of the technological advances are at the moment, but while the AI and all that sort of stuff is really, I'm creating a tech company around AI, and that's really amazing that it puts those possibilities in front of you. But as a species, what we offset to AI and the machines is creating atrophy in our own brains. I was actually looking at a study this week, and it's scary what it does to the neurology. Now, this is early science, so it's not like set in stone, but the amount of tasks that a lot of people are giving to AI to do is creating different neurological results in people's brains. So if I can give people one recommendation, use AI. AI is amazing. Technology is amazing, but don't get it to do all of the heavy lifting for you. Do as much as you can. Get to a place with your best assumptions, and then lean into AI to get you the rest of the way.
Allow AI to do things at scale.
Yeah.
But don't allow AI to literally be your brain.
Exactly.
So for example, if I give you one in my role in sales, I've just been recently distributing a lot of emails, but I've written the first, say, 50, and each one of those 50 is slightly different.
And you're training the AI.
And then I will bulk upload those 50 emails to create a voice from my ideas.
That's the great use of it.
And my tone of voice. So then each email after that at scale will be done in my voice.
Exactly, yeah.
But if I was to just say, write me an email to reply to this, or write me an email, then it's using their brain, that brain.
Exactly.
Who knows? But yeah, so allow AI to help you do things at scale, which is what you're building. You're building a product that does that. But yeah, don't allow it to become your brain.
Exactly. I seen a meme during the week. A kid walks into a shop and he's like, what will I say to the teller behind the counter? They literally get the whole conversation, and then the teller pulls his phone out and goes, what will I respond to this? And it's just like, that's where we're going, unfortunately.
Yeah. I don't think that's too far from the truth of what will eventually happen.
And if we just bring that forward a few steps, what that does is it breaks down society, because we're not actually having social communications. We're turning into robots, and that's a problem.
Yeah. This person's replied to me on Tinder. What do I say to them? Say, can we meet in a bar and have a couple of drinks to eat with each other? Because then in that moment, you're not going to reply to each other on a ChatGPT or equivalent.
Yeah.
So have proper conversations and be the person who's leading the conversation. Don't lean on these things too much.
Yeah, like I sort of get criticism now when I'm engaging with very young, like 18 to 21 people, and they're saying, oh, you don't understand what it's like. You don't understand what it's like. And there might be a level of truth to that, but I'd like your opinion on this. What do you think is the difference between how they are viewing going out and doing social engagement, maybe, romantically and whatnot? What's the difference between, say, your generation and their generation? Why are they so adamant that it's different?
I struggle with this. We've had a couple of loosely touched upon it a few times ourselves, haven't we? And I don't know is the honest truth, because I've been with Martina for so long now.
Yeah.
That I'm not on the dating scene.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the dating scene looks like.
For my best part of 20 years out of it. So
yeah. I've got obviously younger friends, younger family members, and they seem to be cracking on and doing all right. But actually, if you was to maybe inspect it a little bit more, I don't know. What's the conversations that are happening? Are they truly deep connections, or is it surface level? I'm not sure. Not sure.
And the reason I asked that is because when it gets to the rubber hitting the road, they're unwilling to take actions to move forward and upskill and get better at communicating. And that's the problem. They have all the intention, they want to do it in certain ways, but they're not willing to take the action that is required to get a no. They don't want the rejection. But rejection, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts, failure and rejection is part of life. There's a skill that you receive by being rejected. You become more resilient the more rejections that you get, and that's important. You can't skip that step.
No, there's a book called Go for No, which is literally just keep accumulating the no's, because guess what, a yes is around the corner.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously, what's the acronym of FAIL? It's first attempt in learning.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have that knowledge and you apply it, then you take more risks. You would be more, gregarious,
Brazen,
brave.
whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, but I don't know what any of that's got to do with building a routine that works, Rob.
Well, it's related to part 2 of this, because we're going to talk about taking action and moving forward. And a lot of the things that people come to me, what I've discovered is that they're waiting for the perfect moment. They're just marinating in this inactivity and thinking, oh, the perfect moment will emerge. And in reality, what they're doing is they're just feeling an emotion that says this is hard, and they're just kicking the can down the road. They're not willing to take the action. And in the next episode, I think that we should focus on this, how to get people to just take action.
Yeah. So we're setting people up. They've got a routine that hopefully works. They've got some ideas there about getting things done. They've got the Sunday routine that I have.
Morning. Let's talk about the morning. You've a morning routine, which I do not follow at all, because I'm more of a night owl. But you're very religious at getting up in the morning. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I wish I was more religious at getting up in the morning. It's not. I'm not perfect, but when it works, it really, really works. There's a book there that I read recently, The Miracle Morning, the 6 habits that will transform your life before 8 a.m. Which is essentially the concepts that I follow. So for probably 7 years now, I first started with a group called the 5 a.m. Club, which is what it says on the tin, but it would only be kind of once a week. So once a week, 5 a.m. on a Wednesday, there'd be a guest speaker and they'd be chatting about all things business related and decision making and all of these things that we discuss on here. And it kind of built up the discipline of getting up at a horrible time, listening to somebody for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and then it's like 6 a.m. And you've still got 3 hours until you start work or, get involved in work projects. So you got so much time to yourself to achieve, a ridiculous amount of things. Now, that was only once a week at a time, the 5 a.m. club that I joined, but it brought to my attention, we've got like this extra amount of time in the morning and evenings that we can use to be productive. Like you said, you probably are more productive in the evenings. You'll send me an email or a text message and I'm like, whoa, what's the time? Well, that works for you. For me, I would be on the opposite side of it. But in the morning, for example, when it works and when I'm doing it, I'm up at 6:45. I stretch. And this, again, isn't my routine. It's a routine that I've pinched from Sam, from the Freedom Warriors. I get on with 30 other people, probably most mornings, and stretch, meditate, journal, which is essentially remind yourself of the vision. Put your one key goal, which is the OKG, into your diary. And then after the journaling, it's kind of like a YouTube video for 5 minutes just to kind of get the energy going and stuff. And then you come off the call at 7:30 a.m. In Poland, it's brilliant because I don't start till an hour later than most people. So then I go to the gym. After the gym, I get into work stuff. But quite honestly, before I've even started any work, I've had 3 or 4 hours to myself working on myself.
Yeah.
And I I can't encourage that enough. Like, if you are in like the corporate world and it's, you know, paying the bills and it's allowing you to go on nice holidays, drive nice cars, that's amazing. But don't forget about who you are and what you want.
Yeah.
Because so many people, and I got this piece of advice from somebody who was way ahead of me in terms of their journey and age as well. And he said, don't forget about what you want. Get up in the morning and do one thing that's important to you in your life before you walk through the office door.
Yeah.
And that still kind of sits with me now, because so many people just wake up, get changed, brush their teeth, go to work. And then they come home from work and they go on the phone, they go on Netflix, they look at Netflix.
Yeah.
And then they do it again and again and again. When are they working on themselves? When are they working towards that 3-year vision? If they want to, if they don't want to, that's fine. But that's why the Miracle Morning, there's some things in there that are amazing. There's some things in there that are not part of my routine. But obviously I've mentioned some of the things I do.
Yeah, and you touched on something there. A lot of people talk about this whole area as time management. And I don't like the idea of time management, because it's really attention management. If you're not managing what is coming into your consciousness and what you're allowing yourself to focus on and look at, you're missing the whole game. It's your time goes, and if you don't have something to do or something lined up in your diary to say, this is what I'm going to be attending to right now, and it's related to this project or that project, it doesn't get done. And that's what hurts.
This is what's beautiful about your just putting everything in the diary. Even 4 hours of sitting doing nothing, put it in your diary, because what you can then do with that, and I don't know if you do it, but you put things in your diary, so I assume you will do, is you can just put it onto auto repeat. So for example, Saturday morning, once a fortnight, I jump on a call with a couple of friends, an accountability meeting, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's in the diary automatically.
Exactly.
So it gets to about Thursday or Friday and I get a reminder. Now, of course, I don't have to attend that accountability meeting. I can sit out of it. It's on a Saturday. But it's in the diary.
It's there, yeah.
And if I miss it or I don't attend one, it's in for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And my diary's going to remind me.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
And then if you don't go, your diary's going to say, it's not literally going to say this, but in your head, you're going, I've not been there for 6 times.
That's the integrity part. It's you know, you're getting it, the feel.
Same as the gym.
Yeah.
So the gym is in my diary Monday to Friday. I don't go Saturdays and Sundays. So Monday to Friday, I'll get a notification at 7:15 saying, gym in 15 minutes. Got to get up, go to the gym. If I'm not up, if I am up because I've done my routine, I'm already at the gym and I'm excited to be there. But if I miss twice in a Monday to Friday, by Friday when I get that reminder, in my head I'm going, get to the gym, you lazy bastard.
Exactly. And it's January now, so a lot of people will be thinking about this. You know, they might have set a goal to get healthier and go to the gym. One thing I would recommend people do is to prepare themselves a wad of cash that they have to hand over to a friend if they miss out on the gym.
Yeah.
Like, that's some free, if you don't want to hire a coach like me, go and hand your money over to a friend, hold them accountable. And if they have a goal, get them to do the same with you, where they have to hand you over cash. So, you know, you could win by doing this.
I'm so glad you mentioned that story because, and again, I hope that my brother doesn't mind me sharing this story. But he is trying to, you know, build some better habits with saving money. So one of those things, I know how good a Tesco meal deal is, by the way, but one of those things is if you're buying a meal deal at work every single day and you go to work 5 days a week, you might be spending 150, £200 on lunch every day in your month. So he decided, he told me this and I thought it was absolutely genius, slightly crazy, but genius. So he told his work colleagues, he said, if you don't see me bring in a packed lunch and you see me walking out at lunchtime to go and grab something from the shop, slap me in the face.
Deadly.
And he said for the month of November, he said, every time I don't do it in November, slap me in the face. So he's got 2 or 3 colleagues that are eager and dying to slap him in the face. And they won't hold back, will they? Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's great.
Lads are lads, like they will not hold back. So I thought that was genius.
Yeah.
I think in the month of November, which we're towards the end now, I think he's only been slapped 4 times.
Yeah.
So
Leverage your community. Leverage what you can and tell people, this is what I want. You know, and make it painful enough that you won't want to have to hand over that wedge of money or get a slap in the face or whatever it is. You know, use the people around you to hold you accountable to what it is that you're saying that you want to do.
yeah, I don't know what's worse, a slap in the face or losing money. Both are pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, it depends what you value more.
yeah. But yeah, I feel like
Yeah, I think we've covered most of the ground there. The next time we'll talk about the action, the getting to action, the overcoming that sort of resistance and whatnot. And we'll talk about a couple of books and a couple of theories that are interesting behind that.
Yeah. So this was part 1 of essentially the same topic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the best of luck with all that, guys. And we'll talk to you in the next episode.
Please do share any In fact, I encourage people to comment, text us, whatever, with the craziest idea they've had where they've been held accountable by friends or family members.
Yes, I love it.
And the best one wins a quality street. No, the best one wins a book.
Wins a book, yeah. We'll go with that.
There we go.
Excellent. See you in the next one.